Hello, this is Dread from Last Epic Builds, and today's video topic we're going to be talking about Wrouk's Manifest Armor build. So Wrouk has been working on Manifest Armor for months now. So in the beginning, when I first started playing the game, I thought Manifest Armor was literal trash. Like, it used to be just one of the worst skills in the entire game because Manifest Armor could never survive because it was always just super squishy. You would summon it, it would just die. But Wrouk has gone through all of the theory crafting you could ever want, and now we have a fully functional Manifest Armor build. Now, it is not the most amazing thing you've ever seen, but it definitely pumps out the damage. This Manifest Armor build, like the minions doing like 10k crits, 12k crits, and empowered monoliths, it's absolutely destroying things. You also have Forge Strike to summon Forge minions as well if you want to clear faster. But with the main setup, you usually end up taking out Forge Strike and putting in Juggernaut Stance, because Juggernaut Stance doesn't affect your Manifest Armor's damage, it only affects your damage. So your Manifest Armor gets all the benefit without you getting any of the negatives. Now, another amazing thing about this build is Manifest Armor gets increased effect of certain stats on your gear. So for instance, like a 15% increased attack speed mod on your gloves could be 45% increased attack speed for your Manifest Armor. Like about 30% movement speed on your boots could be 90% increased movement speed for Manifest Armor. So there are a few things that works for him. There's a few things that don't work for him in terms of uniques. Wrouk has gone through the effort of just figuring out exactly what you want to do with Manifest Armor. It seems to be the best case scenario for Manifest Armor is to go crit. As you can tell in the footage, like the 16k crits, the 20k crits, this thing is an absolute freaking monster truck of damage disposal. It does have a little less AoE, but that's what Forge Strike is for. But this is an insane arena pusher. He's already gotten to 250 with shitty gear. This is a very refined, this version you're seeing right now is a refined version, and he said he could probably push way farther with this version. Oh my god, I just saw a 60k crit. This build's nutty. Just insane, the fact that you can get Manifest Armor to do these kind of shenanigans. This build is by no means cheap. All right, this build will take effort to actually make into a good build. I'm sure you could make it on a budget, but just be warned, this build requires very specific types of equipment, very different types of armor, takes different types of boots and gloves. Like this is not gear you'll have laying around. This is gear that you have to find or make yourself, because this is all weird special gear. Like the weapon is very special, has very special mods. It's just insane. Just you have your Manifest Armor charging around, killing shit. It's absolutely amazing. I love this build already. I wish I could play it, but I don't have time right now as I'm working on other projects. But also as well, another thing that happened, Minion power came into the game. So now your Manifest Armor does 40% more damage at level 100 and takes 40% less damage. So he is the tankiest boy. You also have Minion health regen prefixes. So the beautiful thing about Manifest Armor is all your Minion health regen affixes are all now flat, right? Instead of percentage. But he takes your percentage health regen and multiplies it with his effect. So he has, I believe, one of the highest amounts of minion health regen you could ever get on a minion. I believe that it's in the tens of thousands of health regen or something like that if you go really crazy with it. It's pretty much, your Manifest Armor is never dying, pretty much. He does all the damage in the world, he's never dying. So with this build, you're focusing on not dying. So you are going Forge Guard mainly because of the Manifest Armor flat damage at the top of the Forge Guard tree. That's the main reason why you go Forge Guard. Another reason why is because you're going for the hammer and anvil. So if you did not know, hammer and anvil is a node that most people don't take. It makes it so you take 25% less damage, but you deal 25% less damage, and it swaps with hammer stance if you use a throwing attack. Well, this build doesn't use throwing attacks, so he's always in anvil stance, meaning that he takes 25% less damage and deals 25% less damage. Then he also has Juggernaut stance, which is obviously 15% less damage and it's more armor. He has all these other things as well for damage reduction. He even has Rings of Shields, because with the Minion health regen and the Minion power stuff, Rings of Shields are absolutely amazing for chonkiness, helps you not die to stupid projectiles. Absolutely amazing build. If you just want to play the tankiest build ever and just let your manifest armor do all the work, this is definitely the build for you. It is a little slow, but with the right movement speed boots, this does completely fine. You can also, like I said, you can also swap out you can also swap out Juggernaut stance to just run Forge Strike and just make a bunch of minions, and they'll clear the screen for you. The forged weapons. That's another reason why your Forge Guard is just to make mapping faster. But this gameplay I'm showcasing is just manifest armor, because I wanted to emphasize the fact that manifest armor is the thing that's carrying, not the manifested weapons. With that being said, let's get into the skills, shall we? Here we are in the skills here. We have manifest armor for first. This is the most important skill tree. This is like very important, so stick with me here. So we take 3 points into Great Helm. That means manifest armor grants increased effect of stats on your helm. Meaning, if we're going to go look at our helm real quick, this is important. We have increased physical damage, which is increased by that number. So this is actually giving him like 150% increased physical damage. It's giving him like 36 flat health regen, and then it's giving him 210% increased health regen on top of that. So it's giving your manifest armor a buttload of stats. Absolutely amazing. Also takes the 25% crit multi and adds that on top as well, which is absolutely disgusting. So back to this. Sorry if we're going to be flipping back, but for this build it's specific because this is important. Now for Iron Grasp, manifest armor grants increased effect of stats from your gloves. So let's look at the gloves. The gloves have crit chance, because you want crit chance, so he's getting like 160% crit chance. He's getting like 60% increased attack speed, even more crit chance, health and health regen, making your manifest armor a chonky boy. So absolutely amazing. Lots of damage, lots of crit. Then we take 4 points into redistributed steel. Your manifest armor has all the HP in the world, has all the sustain in the world. You want as much damage as possible, so you grab this node. You max out this node. 1 point into Titan Mace, so he actually gains your weapon as your weapon, kind of like how forged weapons work. So he gets the same stats as your equipped weapon stats, so he gets the melee crit chance, he gets all that base crit. You need to run this specific polearm because you want as much base crit as possible, so he's critting as much as possible. Melee fizz, this is mainly fizz damage, so you can take advantage of melee armor shred as well. Then increased melee damage, increased minion melee damage, because that doesn't affect your manifest armor, but it affects it through other means. It's kind of weird and wonky how these stats work, but trust me, it works. Then increased armor shred works for him as well. Absolutely amazing, and he's doing all fizz. Back to manifest armor here. 4 points into steel greaves, so 300% increased effect from your boots. So solar on step. This is what puts the build over the edge. So you get about 38% movement speed from solar on step, but he's getting 300% increased effect. So he's at like 160% increased movement speed with these. He's at like 400% increased melee critical strike multiplier. I don't know how it interacts with the physical resistance, but even if he's getting like gigantic negative amount of negative physical resistance. Your manifest armor is so unbelievably tanky that it does not matter. Trust me, it does not matter. back to the skill tree. Well, I mean, your gear is kind of your skill tree, you know, so it's kind of complicated. 1 point into travel, into lethargy, and then 1 point into dash boots. You realize with this build, you kind of need this to kind of to charge fast between packs so that he keeps up with you. Then 1 point into thick padding so he never gets stunned, although I don't think he'd ever get stunned anyways, except for maybe by the auto stun from void centipedes, which he's immune from, so that doesn't matter, I guess, with this node. Then 2 points from plate mail. Stats from armor will go to the armor here, so he gets increased melee damage. As you can tell, he's abusing the plus to skills affixes, increased health regen and increased health. He also has max crit strike avoidance from the chest alone because of the increased health. It's like 70%, so he's even more of a chonky boy. He's insane. Then 1 point into force of impact. This is important because you get melee physical per armor on the chest. So for instance, this chest here has 350 armor base, so he gets 35 physical, which is absolutely insane. That's a lot of flat for a minion specifically, right? And that's pretty much it for the manifest armor tree. Now for vengeance, this is support vengeance. He's mainly utilizing it for the fizz shred, mainly for the fizz shred and for the damage reduction, so he's tanky as possible. So 1 point into riposte for additional ripostes, 1 point for attack speed because you just had an extra point lying around, 2 points into travel, 5 points into bolster for reduced damage taken, 1 point travel into faint strike, 4 points into smelter's vengeance, so you get the armor shred and the fire protection shred, but then you're applying it to the riposte as well, but then you're turning it into physical shred. This allows you to physical shred for your manifest armor, so you can deal up to like 40% more damage versus bosses and stuff and kill rares faster, because you can get in the combat with him because you're so tanky it doesn't matter. Then 4 points into increased armor shred effects so that your armor shred is affecting more. You're getting more armor shred because it's free, because he's running physical, so armor shred isn't halved and effectiveness like for the other ailments and all that. Then of course we have Ring of Shields here, 2 points into reinforcement, 4 points into heal amount per shield, 3 points into Aegis of Life for increased healing, 3 points travel into Bastion, 3 points into more shields, 2 points into banding, and then 3 points into duration, just as tanky shields as you possibly can get. The healing affects your manifest armor and you, absolutely amazing, just keeps you topped off because you're not going to be leeching too much with the build, so this literally keeps you topped off with this. And they gain all the minion stats that you have as well, like the minion health regen, the minion power, everything. It gets everything. And then for Forge Strike, he has it set up for maximum minion creation with the chance to summon forged minions and all that. This isn't as important. This is just for like if you want to push through monoliths faster, if you don't want to run Jug Stance, if you feel like as though Jug Stance isn't helping you out. This is not a necessary component of the build, so I'm just going to skip it. Then for Sigils of Hope, this affects allies because you're not grabbing the mediation, so all this flat is actually affecting your allies, so you're grabbing all this increased damage, which affects your manifest armor. Cast speed, so you can cast them faster. 5 points in armor, this affects your manifest armor. Just as much damage as possible. Just get some, get the faith as well. Like this is like pretty simple. You can do whatever you want with this tree as long as you don't grab mediation. And that's pretty much it for the skills. Like I said, the most important part is manifest armor. You could almost do anything else you want. You could run Cyclone. You can run Warpath. Just so while you're moving, you know, you can keep moving and stuff. Like you could do anything with this setup, but I would heavily suggest going with what he has here because he's the tankiest boy ever. All right, and that's the skills. Alright, here we are with the passive tree. He takes 2 points into Juggernaut for travel, 8 points into Fearless for the vitality and the increased health regen. Like I said, you want to make sure you're tanky. You don't care about your damage, because you're not dealing damage, your manifest armor is dealing damage, so it allows you to take a lot of tanky nodes. 5 points into armor clad for more DR, 5 points into time and faith, so you gain health and mana when you use vengeance, so you can spam sigils and stuff like that. Then for Void Knight, he takes 10 points into Abyssal Endurance, just opens up some gear slots on his items so he can focus on buffing up his manifested armor. Then for Paladin, he takes 8 points into Defiance for Attunement, which scales your manifest armor damage and HP, and then Ellie Res so that you're tankier. 8 points into Valor for more HP, 10 points into Flash of Brilliance for even more HP, 7 points into Holy Symbol for Necrotic Res and more HP as well, so you can get up to Sigils of Hope. Like I said, you don't care about damage, so you just want as much tankiness as possible. Then for Forge Guard here, he takes 10 points into Battle Hardened, so he does have to make up for the fact that he is running Solar Aeon Step, so this is one of the main nodes that he utilizes to make up for the fact he's running Solar Aeon Step, so he's always at max res as long as he's gotten hit once. 1 point travel into Weapons Master, 1 point travel into Pelt Blast, 4 points travel into Shield Breaker because you're not actually using throwing attacks, and then 5 points into Hammer of Anvil. This is the node I was talking about where you take less damage and you deal less damage. This doesn't affect your manifest armor, this only affects you, so this is just 25% less damage taken. Then 10 points into Folded Steel for a mega ton of melee flat for your manifest armor. This node actually made manifest armor actually viable, in my opinion. 6 points into Might, 1 point into Flawless Defender, 1 point into Ospric's Bane, and then 3 points into Shield Crafter. So Shield Crafter doesn't work. You don't get the block. You don't get the block a hit because you're not blocking, but it gives you the increased minion health and increased minion armor, which is more important, right, for just 3 points. So that's why he grabs it. Then he grabs as much attunement as possible as well. And that's pretty much it for the passives. Pretty simple. Just stack as much chunkiness as possible. All right, here we are into the gearing here. Like I said, we already kind of went into the gearing, but we're going to go into it more in depth now. Now, for idols, he's just taking the cold damage, taking his physical, minion physical damage, like just res. He's just like taking random idols. Mainly, you want to start taking like just as much HP percentage as possible, in my opinion. That's what I would go for. And for the minion physical damage idols as well, maybe cap out his reses like he is here. But his idols don't really matter. They don't really help the build too much. Mainly, you just want like minion physical damage and like HP. Probably HP, to be honest, because from what I saw from the video, your manifest armor was doing plenty of damage. Now, for the helmet, he gets +2 manifest armor, the physical damage, which affects your manifest armor, then, of course, the health and health regen. Then for the amulet, he's running minion damage, minion health, and then some minion health regen. For the last suffix, you probably want to put HP there. For the weapon, he's running crit chance with a Ransuer and melee flat. This affects your manifest armor. Then the increased melee minion damage with affects your manifest armor. Same thing with the chance to shred armor and hit. It affects your manifest armor as well. Then for the chest, he abuses the +2 to skill mods for 180% increased damage, which is then multiplied by 2. So he's like getting a shit ton of increased damage from this chest, and then he's also gaining the flat from the flat armor, and then it's also giving his manifest armor crit strike avoidance. Then he's also going for the health regen percentage as well, which is multiplied by 2. So it's even more health regen for your manifest armor. Then of course increased health. Now one thing I would do here, he has plenty of health regen. I would go health just because you want to start getting your health to be a little bit higher. That is one thing I would change. Because from what I saw in the video, he had enough tankiness, at least the manifest armor, so you can push arena higher. Then for the rings, he was running Ellie Res rings, so he doesn't have to waste suffixes on Ellie Res. Increased minion damage, increased minion health. You'd want HP, obviously. Same thing with this one. You want HP, and then you want to make sure that your endurance percentage is capped as well. You just want as much HP as possible. This is minion health regen. You obviously want as much minion HP as possible, so health and hybrid health here. Like I said, this isn't a finished concept. Then For the bracelets, these are very important. This is how you get your manifest armor to 100% crit in combination with Ransuer. So you just get a megaton of crit and attack speed, makes your manifest armor crit all the time and fly across the screen with attacks. Soul Round Step, this is not necessary for the build, but this is like when the build goes crazy, because you want all of that movement speed, you want all that melee critical strike multiplier. You will have to invest into Fizz Res on the tree and stuff to make up for that negative Fizz Res, but it's completely worth it. Then of course for the relic, he goes for flat health regen because he's already scaling health regen. He's got like 263 health regen, so why not? Just more HP than endurance percentage and minion health regen, probably minion damage as well there. That's pretty much it for the relic. For blessings, anything specific, health, obviously health regen, since you're already scaling health regen. You could go for crit strike avoidance, or you can go for minion resistance. Probably go crit strike avoidance because your minion's never taking damage. Like, he's so tanky it doesn't matter. And then you want physical shred or endurance, probably in this one, since you're already physical shredding with your vengeance. Then for this one, you obviously want the endurance so that you're capping your endurance percentage. And that's pretty much it for the gearing. This build, absolutely amazing. Wrouk, keep it up. This is absolutely insane. I want to see some arena pushes with this fucking thing. With that being said, thank you all for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day wherever you're at, and bye!